5 manga that you probably haven't heard of but should definitely check out anyway. And in no particular order, starting off with number 5 with one of the longest names I've ever seen. When I woke up, I got the strongest equipment and a starship, so I went and became a mercenary in order to live as I please while aiming for a detached house. I feel like these manga creators are just purposefully trying to make the longest title possible. But if you're into sci-fi manga, this is definitely the one for you. Our MC, Sato Takahiro, of course gets isekai'd into another world without Truck-kun. I know, right? Unheard of. This new world resembles one of his favorite video games, Stella Online, and he wakes up in one of the best ships in the game, the Krishina, which is a really good ship in the game, but is very, very OP in this new world. And the thing that I love about it is like he immediately accepts his fate and just begins on his little mercenary adventure. And unlike a lot of other isekais, the only real powers he gets isekai'd with are 1, his ship, and 2, his knowledge of the game world, and 3 or 2.5, I guess, he's able to speak and understand any language without having to have an implant, which a lot of other people in this world need. So unlike other isekais, he doesn't really have like a cheat ability or power that he can always rely on. Now the best part that I love about this manga is the MC isn't afraid of women. And what I mean by that is that he's actually able to talk to them and get in relationships with them. He doesn't get like absolutely embarrassed and terrified when women come onto him. He acts like a normal human being, and he ends up getting his own harem of a crew together of just absolutely 10 out of 10s. The first crew member we get is Mimi, and he ends up saving her life and taking her aboard a ship. And in this world, if you were to do that, that kind of means like that person is your certified bed warmer, wink wink, and she ends up becoming his numero uno, and they end up developing a relationship together. The other main girl is Elma, a veteran space elf mercenary. Yes, that's a thing. And she eventually loses her ship and goes into major debt, and so she joins Sato's crew to help alleviate some of that debt, and so she can also have a job and, you know, not be a slave. And similar to Mimi, she also joins the certified bed warmer club. And the best part about this manga is they actually do bang. They don't like hold hands and like, you know what, that's good, we should wait until marriage. They actually they behave like normal humans, and that's what I love about it. And this mercenary crew goes on all sorts of sci-fi adventures, from fighting space pirates to exploring planets and space cities. It's definitely a really good read if you enjoy like sci-fi comedy stuff. I wasn't a huge sci-fi fan, but I still enjoyed this manga. Next up at number 4 is going to be Rebuild World. Now Rebuild World is another sci-fi manga, but unlike being like a Star Wars-esque sci-fi manga, this one is a post-apocalyptic sci-fi manga without the isekai. Our main character, Akira, is an orphan boy living in the slums of this futuristic apocalyptic city. In this world, hunters, which would kind of be the equivalent of like adventurers and other fantasy mangas, go out and explore ruins with guns, vehicles, special augmented suits, and all sorts of crazy sci-fi technological gadgets. And they do this in hopes of finding some ancient tech that they can sell and become rich. Now our main character, Akira, becomes a hunter in hopes of bettering his life. He's tired of living in the slums, he's tired of having terrible luck, but after he gets a gun and becomes a hunter, on his first kind of quote-unquote mission, things go south very, very fast, and as he's about to die, he meets Alpha. Now they say she's an extremely high-grade piece of tech from the old world, but just kind of think of her as an AI, but like an extremely advanced AI with big titties. Now Akira is one of the only ones that can see her, so she ends up saving him, and they enter a contract for Alpha to be Akira's support. She's gonna be the Alfred to his Batman. She's gonna be backing him up any and every way that she possibly can. She's able to guide him to safety or guide him to whatever he needs, whether it be attacking, defense, literally anything she needs. She can scan areas and tell him which way to go. She's able to control tech for him, plan out entire strategies, and help control his augmented suit, and a million other things. She basically keeps this man alive and helps him out with his training so that way he can get stronger and stronger. And the story from here on out is just Alpha and Akira becoming stronger hunters, with Alpha constantly training him and pointing him in the right direction, and with Akira never giving up and just being completely dedicated to this task. They end up rising the ranks really, really fast and go on all sorts of really, really dangerous adventures, while also making some friends along the way that he comes to deeply, deeply care for. Nothing like really, really romance-wise, but just a lot of good friends that help him out whenever he needs help. So if you like future apocalyptic mangas with a heavy focus on fighting, because there is a lot of that, like a lot of gunfighting and stuff, you're really gonna like this manga. Coming up with number 3 is going to be Adventurers Who Don't Believe in Humanity Will Save the World. Now, if you like fantasy adventure mangas without the isekai, I might want to jot this one down. Now, the story starts with my boy Nick in your typical fantasy setting that you see in a lot of other mangas. Now, Nick is currently in a party and he manages their funds. He takes care of all their money stuff. And while going through the books one day, he finds out that someone is taking some money, or someone is stealing from the party. So he takes it up with the party leader, and somehow things get turned around upside down Will Smith style. And the person that was stealing doesn't get blamed, but Nick gets blamed and gets kicked out of the party. And to top it all off, after that, his GF breaks up with him, and she tells him that she was only using him for his money. So after getting bombarded with all this terrible news, Nick just goes on a downward spiral. And one night he is out just getting absolutely shit-faced when him and 3 others start bonding over their mutual just distrust and hatred of other people. And with having that in common, they actually decide to form a party. And other than Nick, this party also consists of Tiana, a trained mage whose fiance was stolen by another girl, and then her family used their influence to get her kicked out of magic school, which in turn gets her disowned by her family. So now she has to be an adventurer while also having a really strong gambling addiction. We also have in the party Sem, a former priest who was falsely accused of sexual assault by a girl that was in his care that used to really like him and was a stalker, and she eventually turned to a hater after he got sent to prison. My boy got sent to prison on false charges. He got a thing for hostess clubs and just indulges in them like a lot. And last person is Karen or Karen. I think it's Karan, but I'm just gonna pronounce it Karen because I'm very bad at pronunciation. She's a draconic humanoid, and after joining her previous party that didn't discriminate against her for only being half human, they ended up betraying her and leaving her to die in a labyrinth while stealing her treasure from her homeland. And also, while she was in her former party, the party sabotaged her education so that way she never realized that she was basically just getting screwed over the entire time. So she is way more bronze than brain, but while she is in her new party, she actually makes it an effort and tries her best to learn and get way more educated than she was previously. So if you like fantasy adventures of a story of a ragtag group of adventurers coming together to quash their own demons and succeed, this is a really good start. It has a lot of character development and tells a really good story, and there's no isekai bullshit or anything. The characters aren't insanely overpowered. It's just a bunch of people coming together to get over their past and accomplish a goal, and it's a really good read, so definitely check it out. All right, changing pace a little bit at number 2, we got an isekai with a lot of boobies. You know it wouldn't be a list unless I included at least one manga with some titties. Shinju no Nectar is all about my boy Kai Watari. A normal dude, there's nothing special. Average of average while he's living in Japan. So one day he gets summoned to this world by Princess Sakura. She is the last survivor of her country and wants to use Kai to save her world from tyranny and jeopardy. Now, my boy Kai at first looks completely useless, and she thinks she failed the summoning and just thinks everything is going terribly until they are cornered, about to die. They think it is all over until Sakura's other personality manifests and transforms Kai into a very powerful warrior. I'm talking like S tier. Now, she transforms him through, I believe this is pronounced ambrosia. I am terrible with pronunciation things, which is a divine curse. And if Kai drinks the breast milk of someone with said curse, he goes like Goku Super Saiyan. He gets a massive power up. And depending on whose titty milk he actually drinks, he can get a variety of different powers. So Kai and the princess go off to save the world while drinking titty milk, and it's a beautiful, heartfelt story with a lot of titties, a lot of magical titties, and fight scenes, and the story's alright, but there's just a lot of fighting and titties, and it's really good. And it would not be a proper list of mangas if I didn't include at least one with just titties flopping everywhere. And coming in at number 1, like I said before, in no real particular order, we got What Do You Wish For with Those Murky Eyes, Record of Highserk War. Now, this last manga is a little bit different from the ones that we previously talked about. One day, my boy Raizu Takakura has a heart attack and dies, but is reincarnated into this new world set in medieval times. In this new world, his name is Walm, and he is a foot soldier on the front lines in a very bloody war. This manga is like real, and I'm talking like real. There's no friendship saves the day. There's no cheat abilities. There's none of those isekai tropes. He doesn't talk to the goddess and then she bestows upon him awesome powers and he just goes off and builds a harem. There's none of that. This manga is real. It really wants to take the realism approach to show you just the darker side of things. With each battle, his skill as a warrior improves, and what I mean by that, I don't mean like, oh, soon he's gonna be taking on entire armies. I mean like, he can probably survive for a little bit longer. And there is magic in this world, but it's not as OP as like a lot of other mangas make magic out to be. Now, with each battle, his skills improve, but his eyes also get darker and darker, just showing you what war and what this lifestyle would eventually do to you. Now, there's not too many chapters at the moment. There is a light novel, but I have not read that, but I definitely plan to because it looks just amazing. But of the 6 chapters that are out, it's a really good read and is different from a lot of the other isekai mangas that you see nowadays. So if you want something real, you want some gore, you don't want no bullshit manga tropes, check it out. Only 6 chapters, but they're all really good. That's been 5 mangas that you probably haven't heard about, but you should definitely check out. If you enjoyed, like button, subscribe, bell notification, and that's it. Peace.